Welcome, everybody, to Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. This is a two-man show tonight. My man, Cottrell, is on a boat. He's somewhere out in the ocean, deep blue seas, enjoying his anniversary. But the show must go on. And here's what I won't do tonight. I won't take side shots at the co-host that's missing, unlike this guy did when I was gone. That's kind of BS. I was very upset about it. My 3 fans were very upset about it. But with that being said, I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walsack, and to my right, I can't even say Kent State's own, Cleveland's own. It's like I've gotten so used to that. Scholastic Shally, Uncle Shally. And tonight, we're drafting. He's Shally Roseman.
One night only. Good, brother. Good. It's going to be a good show. Mr. Cottrell, but, like you said, he's out in the boat, hopefully avoiding the sharks and, enjoying his anniversary and missing one of the biggest shows of the year. So I know he's a little bittersweet about that because he loves the show. Cottrell is a huge, scouting and draft fanatic. So hope all the cool drinks and food on the boat was worth it. Whatever.
What is that? The ding is back. I'm ready. We're going to do that tonight. We got a lot to get into, but we're going to start with Hot Wire. We're going to start with the attention, the things that are going around in all sports and all of media. We're going to start with Hot Wire. We're going to start with a couple topics that have been on everybody's mind, been all over the news. So let's get started there. I would like to recap a little WrestleMania. So I'd like to start there, if that's okay.
Let's do it.
Tiny said he needs to get back. He's going to murder their dog, Pepper. Tiny, I wouldn't be putting that in the chat. I'm just saying, like, for someone as street smart as you are, Tiny, putting that in the chat, you understand that the internet is written in permanent ink. Love you, Tiny. I'm just kidding.
Tiny in the chat like Shannon Sharp.
Well, we'll get there. We will get there. The only reason I didn't start there is because, and I mean this when I say this, I would love to get the list of people in the chat. Like, that's a 7:10 moment. That's a 7:15 moment. We're going to talk about that tonight. But we got a lot to get into. Let's talk about WrestleMania, night 1, night 2, Monday Night Raw. Let's put it as a whole. Shally, I want to start with you. Did you enjoy the show? Did you not enjoy the show? I'll be very clear, and I'll see if you have the same mindset I did. If you would have took night 1's main event and night 2's card that wasn't the main event and put them together for one night, that would have been one of the greatest WrestleManias ever. I think night 1 had a very flat undercard, and I think night 2 had an awful main event. And when I say awful main event, I mean like WrestleMania 27 awful main event.
I would agree with that. I mean, I don't think this show is necessarily worthy of 2 nights, even as much as last year's was. I thought there was a lot of filler matches that I just don't think needed to be on a WrestleMania card. I agree with you on that. The triple threat main event on Saturday night was incredible. I thought Jay and Gunther was okay. I know a lot of people are bitching about the quick tap. There's kind of story behind that. But that being said, I feel like if you're not a hardcore person, I think for as dominant as they book Gunther at times, he's either, got a fake go out there or at least hang on for a while before he taps and kind of let the crowd kind of like get like the rise out of the crowd, like anticipating it versus them hitting the mat for 2 seconds and Gunther is already out. And like, it was almost like the crowd couldn't believe the match was over. So like, I feel like they kind of blew the finish there. And then, yeah, I mean, I think Sunday was pretty good. I still like the main event. I understand why people didn't like the ending because I didn't like the ending. I didn't like the ending because I don't think Travis Scott had to be in that match whatsoever. And I think it was a little abrupt for the way that you've built Cody for the last, I hate to say it, for the last 3 years. for him to lose that way and that abruptly, I think was a little much for me. But I'm still glad they decided to go with Cena. I know a lot of people were still doubting they were going to do that, but I think Cody, as much as I wanted Cody to be dethroned and for them to go down this road with Cena, I felt Cody deserved a little bit better at the end.
So first of all, you cannot make Cody this unbeatable guy that breaks out of all these finishers. And then, like, the part that was so annoying, there's two parts that was annoying about night 2's main event. Number one, I don't know why, was Travis Scott like taking his good old time walking down to the ring? I felt like the whole match stopped. It was like, what's going on? Like, why are we just strolling down the ring? Like,
he was in no rush.
No rush whatsoever. Embracing the moment. Sunday stroll, you know? And then the part where he's in the ring and he's got the belt from Cena and Cena's like, please don't hit me. Please don't hit me. And then Cody's like, all right, fine. I won't hit you. And then he like low blows him and then hits him with the belt. And then the ref who gets knocked out from falling off the apron. It wasn't like no one hit him. They didn't even try to sell it why he got knocked out. He just got pulled out of the ring by Travis Scott. No one hit him. Nothing. So he's laying on the ground for this whole thing. I like the realism of the reason I like wrestling so much is because it brings like these stories to life and you have a realistic element to it, right? Like you watch Law and Order, SVU. Like we obviously know these cases aren't happening, but these aren't real cases that they're working. Some of them are mocks of real cases, but they're not real cases. But like you like it because it's got the realistic effect of like what happens. And that's what I love about wrestling. That's what I love about the WWE. It's got that realistic effect. None of that was realistic at all. Night 2's main event was awful. I don't know how you could like it. The women's threat, though, hold on. The women's triple threat stole the show.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely stole the show. Bianca, Io, and Rhea, give them their roses because they absolutely stole the show.
Agree with you on that. I thought they were great. I was super excited that they stayed with Io. I thought there was a shot it could happen because, again, I just don't think Bianca or Rhea need it at this point. I think they're just both superstars. And Intercontinental match I thought was very good. Again, the ending was exactly how I said it was going to go. I think the only thing, not that it did surprise me, but I feel like they're thinking of putting the belt on Dominic there was going to be him as a heel, and you noticed it switched kind of right when it was happening. When he went to go up, knowing it was going to happen, everybody started cheering. So now it's going to be a weird situation for him to see how they book him. But back to the main event. To your point, I don't like the way it ended that abruptly. Like, for instance, I love that Cena went and used old school, went and used the belt, hit him, was going to throw him out. I feel like that's a situation where Cody could still kick there, and you can still get to whatever finish you want to get to, and still have Cody lose a different way. And I feel like if Cody kicks out there, the match goes another 3 or 4 minutes. You have the face, getting out of the whole heel situation where they get help and all that. And then you start to put a little belief back into Cody people that he's going to win. Kind of like last year with Roman, after Solo and all them came out and then Cody kicked out of it before all the people started the run-ins, it was like, okay, which way is this really going to go? I would have really preferred Cody to kick out there and then probably lose a couple minutes later to something else. But that's the part of it. And again, I didn't need Travis Scott at all whatsoever. Let's
talk about Travis Scott. Let's talk about that weird buildup. Can we talk about that real quick? To the most selfish man in the history of the WWE, The Rock. Like, what's funny about Pat McAfee's show, Bill? The most funny thing about Pat McAfee's show is he has two of the most egotistical people ever on his show often. One's Aaron Rodgers, and the other one's The Rock. Did you hear his interview with Pat McAfee?
I did, and it's funny to me because I feel like McAfee when this stuff's going on, to some degree, has to walk that fine line of, what's a shoot here, keeping up kayfabe to certain points, and because you also remember with him being a commentator, like he's in the know of certain things that are going to happen and whatsoever. Listen, I agree with you. I think they absolutely just missed the spot here and kind of really put themselves in a corner. And I think that's why you saw Rock do all these interviews and kind of explain what was going on to try to get it out there, because it's kind of the second year in a row he's done this. They got away with it last year with the way they ended WrestleMania and ultimately getting to Cody. But him showing up at Elimination Chamber and then nothing from that point on, and then having Travis Scott be the run-in was weak. It wasn't good. It was definitely mistakes. And right before we came on air, we were talking about, the new stable that looks like it's going to be formed, and how you go from Rock being in the ring to doing the throat slash to turning Cena, and then those two not have a really other important connection or interaction from that point going forward. It just makes no sense. Like for me, I'm like, oh, Rock and Cena are going to join forces, and they're going to create this crazy stable or at least like group for a little bit that's going to be like super villains, and then it's like we get nothing, and he's in Hawaii eating waffles saying he didn't want to ruin John's moment. It was bad. I hope whatever they do, I understand a lot of people are still clamoring for Rock Roman, and I do think that could have been great on its own, on its own accord at a different time. Cody deserved his time last year. It was the right call to go to Cody. But this year wasn't it. I just hope, unless he's really going to dedicate to showing up on TV and being involved in something, then I don't need any more Rock. I don't.
No, I don't at all. And I think that the part that frustrated me the most was where he, I forget the guy's name, Ari something. He's like, the CEO he told me that they're having real trouble selling tickets. So I came out and just come back to help the industry. They were having no trouble selling tickets, bro. Stop it. You make it and it wasn't even your idea. Your idea was to turn Cody heel. And it's the same thing that happened last year, where the idea was Rock Roman at WrestleMania. And the fans are like, dude, we're not doing this. You're not making this about yourself. Stop it. And then they switched up and it worked out. Triple H fixed it. And their idea was to turn Cody heel. And in reality, they turned Cena heel, which was Triple H's idea, which was the viral moment, which was what the right play. Mm-hmm. The Rock is just in the way. And I can't imagine being Triple H, like the person that's in charge of editing and creative, sitting there and dealing with this and being in this situation to where, dude, I know I have to listen to you because you're on the board, but can you just go away? I got this. I'm doing way better than you'll ever do.
Yeah, it's got to be like that, cringe moment where you have everything written down and you have everything going. And it's like, all right, well, where are we going to get the phone call from Rock that he's going to insert himself in here and blow this all to smithereens? You know what I mean? And last year's a perfect example. I mean, again, I think Rock and Roman would have been great, but there's no way in hell you can have Rock beat Roman. So at that point, you've destroyed Cody. And then you're looking at Roman holding the belt for another year at that point. Then, you're not going to have him lose anywhere but Mania at that point if he's over 2 years in. You know what I mean? He was putting them in an impossible situation. Like you said, Triple H fixed it in a great way in a 5-minute viral moment that luckily again happened in this city. But that WrestleMania will be remembered forever the way it all went down. And now, again, I mean, I think they're in a good spot. I mean, you have Randy, with John, you have the Punk factor out there. And then, again, I think long-term for Cody, I think it's going to be I think they'll turn Cody to probably put the belt back on Cody at some point. They're going to make him realize you can't be the good guy all the time and blah, blah, blah. And that'll be fun to see who he turns on and when he does it down the road. But I was gonna say, if we're gonna go selfish, can't have this weekend without mentioning the bullshit Becky Lynch pulled though.
Listen, we'll talk about a little bit more. We can't. It's 15 minutes in. Becky Lynch situation was awful. I love what they're doing with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. I think Seth Rollins, I said this before and I'll say it again. I think Seth Rollins is the most valuable member of the WWE. Number one. I think he is the number one guy. And I think they're finally going to give him that push with the new evolution, which I think they'll call revolution. Like, I think there's so much to get into. What Becky Lynch did was awful. I couldn't stand it. You've seen Bailey's interview that came out that was beforehand.
Yeah, which was even more wild. Yep. And especially the way it went down, like I to just drop the next night and then her turn on an NXT person, like what are we doing? Like, just again,
they're using her to build up Lyra. That's what they're doing. They're trying to put her in a feud to build up Lyra. But you didn't need to have them win the tag titles at Mania. You didn't need to pull Bailey out of that. Like, you didn't need to do any of that. Like, that didn't need to happen.
She could have just been another surprise return on Raw after, which was an incredible Raw. You could have added her to that and done it somewhere else. It was.
I don't mind the heel turn by Becky. I think that.
Oh no, she's a better heel anyway.
Yeah.
But but to your point with Seth, that right there is, again, he had some kind of part of factor into it all. That is the reason why people don't like Seth. And I agree with you. I think as a performer, the dude's a workhorse. He wrestles through injuries all the time. He doesn't go away for long periods of time, like Roman does. He didn't
leave the company like CM Punk and Cody did.
Correct. But the guy is never, ever, like, if you're going by storytelling and wins, losses, like, there has literally been times where he's gone to a pay-per-view, lost the Intercontinental title match, and the next night on Raw, they're like, oh, we're going to have, a fatal four-way for number one contender for, Brock Lesnar's belt. And then Seth wins that. Like, that's why people are exhausted of Seth. Like, I understand he's going to get the push and he's going to. Braun Breaker's going to go to the moon now. So for all the people that were hoping that was going to be a thing,
we called that a while ago. We talked about Braun Breaker needing a mouthpiece. Paul Heyman's the perfect mouthpiece for it.
He's literally Lesnar 2.0. That's what he is. And that's what he's going to be. I don't know if he's ever that dominant because he's not that big, but yeah, Paul Heyman, he's going to the moon. But in regards to Seth's never out of the picture. Like, everybody else loses and goes away for 2 or 3 months until they bring him back and start building him. Seth just gets rebuilt the next night over and over and over and over again. And that's why people get exhausted of him. But him being a heel with Paul Heyman is going to be super exciting because he really leans into that side of the character, and it's going to be really fun.
All right, we got to move.
We do.
So the one thing I want to bring in, and I just want to go over this, and I want to give my opinion on it, and you can give yours. And this is something I feel really strongly about, and I waited, right? I'll give Tony, or not Tony, William Morgan from the Sports Report Monday night. He's like, dude, how do you cover this? Like, I would love your opinion on how to cover this Shannon Sharp thing. And I'm like, I would wait. I wouldn't cover it right now. And the reason I wouldn't cover it right now is because this was 2 days ago. It's because I would love more information to come out. And you don't want to be on the wrong side of that, right?
No, we've had to do it before where something comes out on like Tuesday and we want to talk about it. And we're like, we can't. And then we're like a week late by the time everything comes out. But yeah, you can't be on the wrong side of it.
So I feel like today's not the wrong side of it. No. And I'm ready. And I'm ready to get into it. And I want to start by saying Tony Busby is an absolute leech. That's who he is.
Chaser.
What?
He's an ambulance chaser.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of Tony Busby at all. I want to say that both things can be true in this scenario. 100% this is a shakedown. 100% this was a setup. 100% they are scamming him for money. And also, he's a scumbag. He is a piece of garbage. He is not a good person. Like this, he's a sicko. And I'll make it very clear, man. Listen, I'm not nothing against. I'm not gonna say nothing against Shannon Sharp. I'll make it very clear when I say this. I'm 39 years old. I'm not married, right? I'm dating somebody, but not married. On a dating profile, you know how they go, what's your minimum age? What's your maximum age? Right? You know that on Tinder or any of these profile pages, minimum age, maximum age. My minimum age on that profile is 26. And I don't even like that. It kind of feels weird. I'm like, if I was dating a 26-year-old, I feel like you'd have to be a really, really mature 26-year-old. I'm 39. It's 13 years. That's too much. But I don't want to like close the window. But mine is 26 to 42. I'm 39. I think that's like a reasonable gap. It probably should be 28 to 42 at this point, being 39 now. But that's my age. That's my min-max. Shannon Sharpe was 54 years old when he met this girl who was 19. You can hear in her voice. You can hear, those recordings get launched. You can hear in her voice the adolescence in her. And that's what makes me sick. Like, you're a 56-year-old multi-millionaire, but you're going to choke her. And listen, even if she's into very rough BDSM type stuff, and that's the stuff he's releasing, like she'd like to be talked to that way, like release the whole thing so you can hear that she enjoys it. It's still weird, bro. It's still creepy. It's still disgusting that you're 56 years old and this girl's 19 to 21 now. Like that is not excusable. It's not, you cannot, I don't care. And even in the text, he doesn't deny it. He goes, like, she's like, no means no. Like, that's not okay what you did. Like, and he's like, can I call you later? Like, if someone said that to me in text, my response would never be, can I call you later? Like, ever. I'm sick at the fact that this guy is trying to go, and the worst part is this, right? I know he has to defend himself. I'm not stupid to think he doesn't have to defend himself at this situation. In that same respect, for him to go on a live 2 nights ago and defend himself and call it a shakedown, and she wanted it and released the whole sex tape, like, dude, you're 56, bro. I'm disgusted by it because there's no right party in this. She's not an innocent 19-year-old.
No.
Like, she's not. The lawyer is not an innocent lawyer. This nice lawyer, they're not. These are all bad people. And granted, she could be an OnlyFans girl or an Instagram model. She was 19 when you met her. And the situation is referring to them as in a relationship for 2 years. What are they talking about, Shelly? Like, what kind of conversations do you think a 56-year-old and a 19-year-old have? Like, how does that, like, I couldn't imagine. Oh, do you remember in 1990s? No, I wasn't even born yet. No, I don't remember that.
So, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. I'm not even going to say that she's a bad person because I don't know. I don't know enough about her other than I think, to your point, she's a kid. She's very, impressionable, and I think she's making bad decisions, and she's letting people, not great people around her, kind of influence what she's doing. Busby being one of them. But all Busby doesn't care about her well-being. Busby just sees a big chunk of whatever money they're going to get from Shannon Sharpe at the end of this. That's all he cares about. I don't care that she has OnlyFans. It doesn't make you a bad person.
No.
But it's, listen, for lack of better, I mean, this is the culture we're in now. Would I date a 19-year-old? Absolutely freaking not. No, for the same reasons all you said. I have to have somebody that can have an intelligent discussion. And I'm not saying she's dumb. I'm saying she's 19. She's 21 now. She just hasn't grown up. Like, she hasn't been through the world. You know what I mean? But this is the celebrity culture, if you want to put it. I mean, it's a running joke. Leonardo DiCaprio dates people till they're 21, and then he's done with them. And I think it's crazy. But again, I think if you're that high of a celebrity, let's be honest. I mean, I can't imagine what Shannon Sharpe's DMs probably look like. You know what I mean? Like, anybody like that. But to your point, it's still making the right decision. It's saying yes or it's saying no. Her voice thing is one of the things that stuck out to me. If you're talking to her on the phone, like she sounds like a young girl. Like it's not like she's 21 and she looks young, but she's still like she sounds like she's in high school. Like she sounds young. And if that's your thing, then then it is what it is. But I mean, he's going to pay for it. He has no choice here but to defend himself because his career is over after this. So, you look at it as Shannon Sharp's had if we're being honest, a couple really good years. He went from Fox, landed on his feet in ESPN. His podcast has been super successful. But it's probably all about to go away. So he's fighting for his life here.
That's what's going to help him though. His podcast that won't go away. You can't block that. It's his own.
You can't block it, but it's when you start funding it yourself. Like he's like the people that are sponsoring him and paying all his production costs and that's all going away. But this sucks because it's exactly what you said. I think everybody's a little bit guilty here. Nobody's innocent. But again, it's life's about choices. If you want to get involved as a 50-year-old, you want to get involved with a 19-year-old, and the other thing is too, I don't understand knowing damn well the way people use technology now. Why would you possibly call someone knowing they could possibly be recording and say, I'm going to choke you when I see you if you say that again?
Oh, I got it. I got it right here. I was waiting for that.
Or do any of like how dumb are you? Like you can't
say that word one more time. She accused him of being a manipulator.
Manipulative.
Say that word one more time. I'm going to effing choke the S out of you.
Yeah.
And then they had an agree. He offered them. His lawyer offered them a settlement for $10 million. So it wasn't like he didn't know. He did something wrong. You don't offer someone $10 million to go away if you're in the right. Now I highlighted this comment by Jory because I really want to talk about this for a second. You have everything to lose. Discernment. You're 56 and 56-year-old woman don't want you because you're a clown. And if you hear how he talks about women on Nightcap, you can see that he views them differently. He does that all the time. They just had a segment less than a week ago about Bianca Belair where they were talking about, you can just hear it. And it's I can never be that much of a pervert on TV. I'm not that much of a pervert privately. I can never be that I don't like men that just sexualize women. But that's not, you don't go to jail for that. That is the problem where, once again, not innocent from both ends, but she's recording him. She knows what she's doing. The reason she's recording his phone calls.
Correct.
Just sickening on both ends.
You just still can't threaten to strangle somebody either.
No.
I don't even mean to laugh and make light of the situation, but it's all of this is so dumb to me. Shannon Sharp, just obviously very successful, has money, not a bad looking guy. Bro, you could find somebody in their early 30s if you want to date a younger woman to date that can at least understand who you are as a person, understand what's going on in the world, and have a fun relationship with them. Come on, man. 19, but again, you look at it's been going on since the start of time, though. I mean, if you're that famous, it's you have your pick of the litter. I can't imagine what those men and women of that type of celebrity. What you open up your DMs to every day. They just scroll down and pick one. If you start talking to them, they're not going to not talk to you. You're goddamn, you know what I mean? I don't think anybody blocks Leo on Instagram. You know what I mean? It's getting out of control. And if you get into the wrong situation with the wrong person and do stupid shit, which Shannon Sharp did, it's going to cost you a lot. And it's about to cost him a lot. Life's about choices, and he made some bad ones, and he's going to pay for it, deservedly so. I don't know if she deserves money Busby doesn't, and that's still to me the worst part of it. This guy's going to go make $3, $4, $10 million, and then go look for the next, ambulance victim that he wants to, try to collect off. It's the same guy.
This is the third high-profile case that he's been involved with. Well, fourth, if you count like Diddy, Jay-Z, Deshaun Watson, Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, so follow the pattern here. He is what he is, and
she's trying to help him out. He's trying to help the girls out.
He'll when this is over, he'll take the check from her, and he will never talk to her again. Nope. So I mean,
I think Belichick's a weirdo for his situation too.
Yeah, it's another one. That's perfect. I would say it's still weird. She's obviously educated and has professional aspirations and everything else, but yeah, it's still weird. He's 60-some-year-old man dating a 24-year-old. It's all weird. It's all weird.
We have a 48-year age gap. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. To Gene's point, I don't know what you talk about. Like, if you're that far apart, like you're literally talking about 2/3 of your life, the other person wasn't even alive, and then you have to factor in, you really don't even know what's going on in the world until you get in like your early mid-20s anyway. So like what the hell are you talking about? It's wild, but it's. I don't know if ESPN suspended him yet. I don't know what's going on there. It's gonna be really interesting to see how it plays out. But I've when it came out, like you said, that they had a meeting a couple days ago and he offered $10 million. It's the ultimate. I did something wrong. I don't want this out. Take 10 million, walk away, and hopefully, my bosses never find out about it. But as soon as you hear those conversations had, then it's bad, and there's more bad stuff to come, which, I'll give him credit. He said, he did his thing that he posted on Twitter or whatever, saying this is what they're going to release. This is what's going to be in it. Like, he knows. So I give him credit for getting ahead of that and telling you what's.
The one thing I didn't like is release the full sex tape. Like, that's going to make us feel better about it. Like,
I think it's. Well, it's that age-old adage, adage that I'm sure if you take a 30-second clip of that sex tape, you can make it look like it's something it's not, which is what I'm sure they're going to do. So I think he's saying, like, this gets back into like whole Bauer thing. Bauer's like, release everything, and show the whole picture, and then you'll see I'm not some crazy person running around Cleveland punching girls in the face. You know what I mean? Which, in his case, he proved to be right. I don't think
this is like, I'm not trying to be this guy, and this is not the platform for what I'm about to say. But like, if you're an older, rich gentleman and a woman tells you she likes really rough sex or BDSM or things like that, maybe you should just say no. Like, I'm not going to get involved in this. Like, oh yeah, I really like being punched in the face. I'm not going to use this later. You're rich. Nobody knows who I am. Like that might be I'm just going to leave over there. I'm just going to exit stage right here.
It's one of those things. Yeah. It's like, you're free to do whatever you want to do in the bedroom. But if you're a celebrity, you have to know that it doesn't end there. And Trevor Bauer being the first person ever that literally kept every freaking receipt of everything ever, which is probably the only thing that saved him. I don't know what Shannon Sharp has or what he doesn't have.
Nothing. Yeah, he has nothing. So, he said it.
Yeah. So he's going to come up on the short end of the stick there. And again, I would say probably deservedly so. But whatever, man. I mean, these guys just got to start making better decisions.
Agreed. She filed as Jane Doe. I hate that he released her name and all that. Yeah, I agree.
Hey.
The text message also make it 100 times worse. Yeah,
it does. It all does. And I promise you, whatever they release of the sex tape isn't going to make it look better. So
I don't. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't care if she's. I want it. Like, this is please hit me. Like, it's not going to make me feel differently about him being a creep or a weirdo.
No, I agree.
And they're not filing a criminal lawsuit against him. They're filing a lawsuit against him for money. Like.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously the discernible difference between this and like even like the Bauer situation. Like, like they were trying to get him criminally. Whereas, but it's exactly what you said at the beginning. This is a shakedown. This is for money and nothing else. And that's why it's like I guess Shannon should be punished or held accountable for what he did. But at the same time, like all this really is blackmail and extortion. That's all it really is. Like, if we're being honest with it, and behind it is the biggest scummy, lawyer in the country. And it's like, and then you have this young 21-year-old woman whose head is spinning a million miles an hour right now, kind of in between those two. So it's like, I don't even know who you point at and be like, that's the least, I guess, scummy person in the situation. I would say Busby's still probably the worst, but
yeah, Andre said I'm still undecided about Busby. When you go down the list of recent targets, there are really some weirdos. Watson, weirdo. Jay-Z dated Beyonce when she was young, weirdo. Shannon Sharp, weirdo. Diddy, super weird. I'm not saying that, like, but they all have in common they're black men, right? You do realize that, right? And that's a weird coincidence that he's not on any of the sides of any of the white men to do any of this crazy shit. But like that's one. The second part is
a white guy from Texas. Oh, shocker!
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you have to understand there is a little motive behind it.
There's a way bigger picture.
The guy is neighbors with the owner of the Houston Texans, which actually makes it even worse. I'm almost sure he's the neighbor of the owner of.
I think he was at some point. I don't think he still is, but yeah, I mean the backstory between the whole Watson thing is nuts.
And all you gotta do is look at Tony Busby, and you know how much of a creep he is. I'm serious when I say that. Like, if you've seen a picture of him, like you would know like how much of a creep this guy is. Like, this is like, I'm not kidding with you. I shouldn't even do this. I'm going to do it. I don't care. Hold on. I just want to show you.
It's not saying anything.
This is his page. This is his page. It's not like he's hiding. Look at that guy. You tell me that guy doesn't look like a friggin' weirdo to you? All right, no, we don't want your help. I'm not a woman in trouble, Tony. Thank you. But all right, I'm done. We got a draft to get into. We got an NFL draft to get into, and the show must go on. I know there's no Cottrell here, but we will be drafting. And if you're not ready, let's see, can this be related to everything Jonathan Major, where the suit eventually just got dropped? I don't know what's going on with everything, but no, I don't think that's
Jonathan Major's thing is completely different, and it's just.
Sorry, I'm fired up. I apologize. I'm a child. Are you ready to draft?
I am. Let's go.
Right. So I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell listeners. I feel like you're the perfect guy to do this for. I want you to tell the listeners the way we are drafting so they don't look at it and be like, oh, this is a weird mock draft. Like, we're not Mel Kiper. We're not projecting where these people go. Shally, take it away.
All right. So as in the past, but we just want to be crystal clear, for like Gene said, when you look at this, if you're not watching us live, if you're watching it tomorrow before the draft, we are drafting this based upon our own personal opinions, how we rank players, what we think teams should do, and our own draft analysis and rankings and scouting and all that stuff. So again, especially at the top of the draft, there might be a couple picks that are not going to go the way they are going to go tomorrow night. That doesn't mean we're saying those picks are wrong. We're saying that if we were those teams, these are the people we would pick down the board, pick by pick, yada, yada, yada. So these are our opinions, our rankings, our draft analysis, so forth and so on. We are not doing this because if we were doing this like ESPN does, our draft would just look the same because a lot of their picks make sense. But as in every draft, there's always surprises. There's always teams that keep their picks very close to the vest, and then out of nowhere, you see some guy hit the board, and you're like, oh, but you always go, oh, that makes sense. I get it. So maybe we steal a couple here. Maybe we don't. And see, Godfrey, I mean, it's going to be, it's, we're going to do what we think the team should do. So that being said, Gene Tagliabue is going to get us going here, and we will we'll draft accordingly.
All right, you're going to hear this sound a lot. Shally, you prepared all day. Shally is the odd number picks in this draft. He's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. We'll obviously get that. You prepared for this pick all day. This is the only pick where you absolutely know who you're going with. So, with the first pick in the Wire2Wire draft, the Tennessee Titans select.
Gene, I got
it.
I didn't know if it was like a double or if you're just pushing it twice. Gene, I like the way you put that. I'm drafting first. I'm taking a player right now that I don't think I can pass up. I'm going to take a player that I think is a generational talent. There's no question marks about him on the field. I'm taking a guy that I think is going to help me on both sides of the football. And I don't think Tennessee, I'm not sold this year on any of the quarterbacks. I'm just not. I've been on record with that from the get-go. I don't think Tennessee can afford to miss on a quarterback again. So that being said, with the first pick, the Tennessee Titans are taking Travis Hunter, cornerback and wide receiver out of the University of Colorado.
I was hoping you didn't go there. I was circling Abdul Carter. I don't know if you could see my mouse when I'm circling it, but that's okay. I will be taking both quarterbacks in this draft. I'm sure of it because I know where Shally ranks them. I know where I rank them. I also will be taking a third quarterback in this draft. I promise you, it will.
I might get you later though. I might get you later. We'll see.
Hopefully not.
We'll see how it falls.
The Cleveland Browns are on the clock second, and one of those quarterbacks will be going off the clock right here. They need a quarterback badly. Kevin Stefanski is a guy that can 100% manage a quarterback that can play within a system. I think this quarterback needs to play in the right system. So with the second pick, the Cleveland Browns they select Cam Ward, quarterback out of the University of Miami, the U. The Giants are now on the clock.
Well, Giants are going to rush to the stage here. I'm ready to select, sir.
All right.
Being the Giants and being how we mess up a lot on our draft picks, we are going to take the safe pick here. We are not going to go quarterback. Like I said, I don't think there's one worthy of the 3 pick. I don't like them at value here. And there's still a stud on the board. I think we could pair with our other stud defensive end. I'm going to go with Mr. Abdul Carter, edge defensive end out of Penn State University.
He's already on the board. You got it.
Already on the board.
Put it on the board. Yes. All right. So what do the Patriots need?
Yeah, so you go chalk here what you do here.
This is my number one wide receiver on the board, and they need a wide receiver. He's sitting right in front of me. I'm not going chalk. I'm taking a guy that Drake May needs to pair with. So, with the 4th overall pick, the New England Patriots take wide receiver from Arizona, Torrey McMillan. I screwed that name up.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm glad you took him because it saved me from screwing it up later in the draft.
I even looked it up. It's Trattoria. I just can't say it. But the 5th pick, your odds, you're up. The Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock.
I'm ready to go. I'm gonna take pride in this pick.
Okay.
Which means you already know where this is going. Jacksonville is revamping their defense. I love that this guy has fallen to us. He's been paired with this team pretty much, whole process long. I think he's a perfect pick. Along with Travis Hunter, I think he's one of the can't-miss guys in this draft. I am going with defensive tackle from the University of Michigan, Mr. Mason Graham, to start the rebuild of that defensive line. Pair him with Walker on the outside. Jacksonville's got to shore up their defense, so very, very, very happy Mason Graham falls to number 5 for us.
I'm not going to lie to you. I thought you were going to take Will Johnson there.
Nah. I got plans for Will later.
I didn't think their offensive line or defensive line needs as much work as their secondary does. So, but that's fine. The 6th pick, I have the Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Raiders. It says their team needs on the board, and it says running back is a team need, wide receiver is a team need, and defensive line and cornerback are a team need. Well, there's a generational player that plays the running back position that's sitting right on your lap. So with the 6th pick, the Las Vegas Raiders select generational running back himself, Ashton Genty from Boise State University.
You've all liked the sexy pick so far.
That's fine. I'll take the sexy picks. I mean,
I know. I'm jealous.
Picking for need.
All right. I'm sticking with what I'm going here.
Love it.
All right. The Jets. A lot of places the Jets could go here. You know, you see QB, wide receiver. Don't think they need to go QB because I think they finally have a guy there that can play the position. So what am I going to do? I'm going to help the guy on the offensive line, and I'm going to get him a bookend franchise right tackle to go along with the left tackle we took last year. Really give him time in the pocket and really hopefully see what Justin Fields can do this year. So the New York Jets select Mr. Armand Membu, offensive tackle out of Missouri.
It's so funny because I had Will Campbell highlighted. I had Membu highlighted. I didn't know which direction you were going with. But, yeah, that's a good pick for the Jets. They can protect their quarterback and no issues there. No issues. The Carolina Panthers are on the clock, and they need a lot. They need a lot. But I feel like I know where they're going to go. I feel like I know exactly where they're going to go. This is not an area to reach. This is an area where you get a good player. And this is a player that 100% could affect football for them this year. I think it takes a couple more years. I think they're in somewhat of a rebuild year anyway. But with the 8th pick in the Wire2Wire draft, the Carolina Panthers pick Mike Green, edge rusher out of the Thundering Herd, Marshall. Look at Shally scrolling down his draft board. He didn't have that one.
Nope, I had him going somewhere else in a couple picks, but it's all right. I have a backup pick. I'm ready to go. I'm a prepared GM.
Prepared. New Orleans Saints are on the clock.
So, I'm surprised they don't have it there. But that being said, I think this guy falling to them. I think we have to take him. I really do.
Oh, look at it. The GM is flustered at the podium.
Not flustered. I'm just making sure.
They've been offered trades.
They've been offered trades.
They were. They're offered trades. They all are. We're gonna get rid of. We're not doing trades. I got you. This guy right here, right in the middle of your screen. This is the pick.
Nah.
Okay.
I'm not as high on him as other people are.
That's fair.
But just kidding, because that's who I'm picking here. The Saints with the ninth overall pick. 9th overall pick will select Walter Nolan, defensive tackle out of Ole Miss.
That's the move, 100%, and especially on that curve.
Yep, and he's going to be, and he's most likely going to just pretty much being the replacement for hopefully a stalwart or franchise guy like Cam Hayward. So learn from him for another year or two, and then really just kind of solidify that position for us for the next decade. So Walter Nolan, number 9, Ole Miss, lock it up, love it.
All right, I'm going to take one of my favorite players in this whole draft, and I know this is a reach. And I understand it's a reach as far as the NFL like projections. I don't care. It's not a reach if you watch the kid play football.
Ooh.
The Chicago Bears select one of my favorite players in the whole draft. I would love for the Eagles to come away with them. Safety out of Georgia, Malachi.
Wow.
I love that pick for them. They've already revamped the offensive line. They don't need any more help there. They need safety help. They need over-the-top help, and Malachi Starks brings that.
That is probably definitely a jump. But that being said, like you said, we're here to make the right pick. Not
the 49ers are thrilled at who's laying on the clock at 11. I promise you he will not be here tomorrow at 11. Top of the board, brother. Top of the board.
I don't think that's where they're going. But I'm ready to pick because they need help at this position as well.
They need help everywhere.
They do. 49ers select. Speaking of revamping defenses, they're going to need help on the outside. Perfect guy, number 11, best pure cover corner in the draft. Out of the University of Michigan, Mr. Will Johnson to the San Francisco 49ers.
I like that pick. I'm not going to lie to you. I like that pick. I like that pick for them. All right, so this is an interesting pick here. I'm going to reach all night because I told you guys I don't care about where people are at. I'm also going to leave Shalley an absolute layup at 13 because that Will Campbell needs to be off the board by now, and I think he's going to go at 13 in the Miami Dolphins because their offensive line stinks. But I'm not taking Will Campbell here because the Cowboys do something. They need to put somebody on the other side. And if you guys seen my projections of where I have wide receivers, you know I'm very high on Luther Burden Jr. So with the 12th pick in the NFL Wire2Wire draft, the Dallas Cowboys put somebody on the opposite side of CeeDee Lamb, and it's a burner in Luther Burden III.
All righty. I'm not going to go the way you think I'm going at 13, though.
Wow. I will. Maybe I can't because I have somebody else at 14. I'm thrilled the way this draft is playing out for me because at 14, the guy I'm going to love to get them there.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know who you're going there then. But
yep.
That being said, and I would agree, I mean, if they don't have to move to get either him or the other guy, I think they would be thrilled.
Facts.
Yeah, so I know where you're going there. But 13, I'm ready to go. Give me the bell.
Shall we're flying through this.
We are flying. No Cottrell to slow us down with all his analysis all the time. Just kidding. Just kidding. 13, Miami. We've already released that we're trying to find a trade partner for Mr. Why can't I think of his name?
Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, so that being said, I'm going to replace him right away. Another young, great corner on the board here. The Miami Dolphins are going to select Jahdae Barron, cornerback from Texas.
Texas has 3 guys that could go in the first round, maybe 4. That's a really interesting breakdown for them. Okay, so I have no doubt the Colts are running to the podium. This is an easy pick for them.
I'm writing this down before you even say it.
The Indianapolis Colts get a little bit of help, a little bit of a check down for their young quarterback or even Daniel Jones. They get a guy that's all faceted. He can block, he can catch, he can do it all. From the University of Penn State, Tyler Warren.
I love that pick. I mean, listen, I think if Indianapolis doesn't have to move, I think they're guaranteed to get either him or the tight end that's going to go later in the first round. So I think Indianapolis is just going to love the way that this draft falls, no matter what. I mean, I guess if Will Campbell's sitting there, though, I mean, maybe you have to think about that. But that being said, I'm ready to pick for Atlanta.
I'm ready. Oh, sorry. Let me click the button. I'm going back and forth between screens, so it's not easy for me. I apologize.
You're good. With the 15th pick, the Atlanta Falcons are going to take Mr. Jihad Campbell, linebacker from Alabama. Roll Tide.
Alabama. All right, so I don't listen. Make something very clear. There's zero reason Will Campbell should be sitting on the board at 16. The Arizona Cardinals have 2 tackles that are serviceable. But at the 16th overall pick, if you get a blue chip talent like Will Campbell, it's got to be Will Campbell. So, with the 16th pick in the Wire2Wire draft, the Arizona Cardinals select the best available prospect on the board, Will Campbell. Will Campbell will not go to 16. Absolutely not.
Zero shot.
It's like the way it broke down. And like, I know Cottrell, when we were doing it, he liked Josh Simmons out of Ohio State better. I think that's a little bit homerish, but I get that. But like, I think there's a big gap between Campbell and the next best tackle in this draft. Like, Kelvin Banks is great. Josh Simmons is great. I don't think any of them are Will Campbell.
I would tend to absolutely agree with you. And I actually like Simmons. So I think Will Campbell's definitively better, though. Yeah, this is kind of like, this would almost be like the draft day thing, because I feel like if he got below a certain point, I feel there's a lot of people that didn't look at him because they'd be like, he's not going to be here. And then everybody starts panicking. I think if Arizona could sit there at 16 and not have to figure out who really is the best available or fits in, and like you said, you get a blue chipper that just falls in your lap, you just take them and run. I mean, there's nothing else to do there. Arizona would be happy as a pig and shit if they drafted Will Campbell tomorrow night at 16.
By the way, I don't want to speak for you, but I try to predict your picks because I'm going next after you. So in my mind, I'm like, I got to figure out where he's going. I'll tell you right now, the perfect fit for Cincinnati, if I was picking odds, I'd go back to your alma mater. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll see.
I don't know. Well, there's only 2 guys left that could go there. One, I think, makes more sense than the other. But that being said, I'm ready to go, and I'm going to explain my pick here.
I love it.
So if you watch the show, all kidding aside, we do know how great Joe Burrow is, and we do know how awfully bad at times his offensive line can be. They were probably salivating. I would say if this draft unfolded in real life, they probably would have moved up and probably try to get Will Campbell somewhere. But that being said, their 2 guards last year were both out of 64 people that qualified. They were ranked 61st and 64th in both run and pass protection. That's why Joe Burrow was on his back a lot last year. So I got to go in this draft. I'm paying this guy $1 gazillion. He's the face of my franchise. He's debatably, arguably the best quarterback in the league, all joking aside. And I got to get somebody to protect him. So with the 17th pick, the Cincinnati Bengals select Mr. Gray Zabel, guard out of North Dakota State. Boom.
Got it. He was listed as a tackle, which is why I was looking for guard, but that makes sense. All right, so the Seattle Seahawks absolutely need help on the offensive line, but they also need help at the edge. And, man, this kid is an absolute monster. And I know I feel like I'm going chalk, but I can't pronounce this guy's last name. What the 18th pick, the Seattle Seahawks get an edge rusher out of Boston College University, Donovan Izaruka. You are up on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I am, and I think your pick created a little urgency, so I'm ready to go here. Tampa Bay, I think, needs a little bit of help in the secondary as well. And with Gene taking Mr. Malachi Starks off the board early, Tampa Bay is going to make sure they get their guy who I personally think has the higher upside of the 2, but probably not the higher floor as Starks. So Tampa Bay is going to select Nick Emanwari from South Carolina, safety.
Yeah, I gotta find him on here. I could type him in. That's wild.
I'm surprised he's that low.
There he is. 67 ranked.
Wow.
Eman
I'm really curious to see what you do here.
Well, this is not a hard pick for me. So when I look at this, I you left them for me. The thing that Denver has brought themselves on is a great situation to where they have defensive players play within their scheme and offensive players that play within their scheme. The biggest hole for the Denver Broncos was their interior of their defensive line. And there's a guy just sitting there that plays, you know him very well.
Taking my boy.
Hold on. I am taking their boy. With the 20th pick, the Denver Broncos look no further than the University of Michigan to take Kenneth Grant, interior defensive lineman.
Stud.
See, now this is where I wish I had an odd pick, because this pick for the Steelers is where I would go with Shador. But I will now go to you.
So Grant was one of my picks for here, and I have two backups. Interestingly, one of them is a quarterback. Oh, God. Screw it. Let's go. Your next pick's super easy anyway, so
100%. Yeah. I know exactly where I'm going 22.
Yeah. All right, I'm doing it. Let's go. Screw it.
All right.
With the 21st pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers going to hope they hit gold here, and they're going to go with a quarterback, but not the one you think. They select Mr. Jackson Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss.
It's funny. You see what I typed in?
No.
I typed in Quinn Ewers.
Oh. Quinn. Listen, we can talk about all this when we get done. Most obvious pick ever.
Preview did. Justin Herbert gets himself an absolute security blanket from the University of Michigan. A 4-year starter, Colston Loveland.
I will overdraft him so high in fantasy next year if he goes there.
That'd be a great fit for them. Oh, by the way, I want to let you know, where's Brett Gardapi? Brett needs to be in the goddamn chat because we're going to help the Green Bay Packers finally.
Yeah, we are. So I'm ready to go here. This one's going to hurt my heart a little bit, but you know how this goes.
I have them both at the top of the board. I think I know which one you're going with, though.
Yes, you do. So Jordan Love, again, franchise guy. I mean, you could argue both these guys at the top of the board. I'm going to take one of them. Help him in different ways. But I think the consistency, I think he needs a weapon outside. I'm going to go with Emeka Egbuka, precision route runner, great hands, can play both inside and outside. Definitely gives him a very reliable weapon. But I think they can start to rebuild that offense around a little bit outside. They got to get him a wide receiver. So the Green Bay Packers select Emeka Egbuka out of that godforsaken place down south.
I have him as my 7th ranked wide receiver. He will not be going in my first round no matter what the situation was.
Ooh.
So the Minnesota Vikings are on the clock, and I feel like things just keep falling into my lap. I do. And if you have not watched Real Recognizes Real, maybe you don't know who this guy is. If you don't watch a lot of college football, maybe you don't know who this guy is. But I'll tell you who he is, and he's a running back that should not be here at 24. Now, listen, Ashton Genty is the class of this NFL draft. But I got a guy that's going to fill right in after Aaron Jones is done. So with the 24th pick in the Wire2Wire draft, the Minnesota Vikings draft a little bit of a luxury pick in Omarion Hampton out of the University of North Carolina.
A lot of people love him.
I like him a lot. And if you watch Real Recognizes Real, I think you'd like him too.
Oh, I like him. I love him.
I know you do. I'm just saying, like, I'm listening to talking to the listeners.
Yeah, Cottrell did a good job with him.
He sold me on him. I liked him. And then after watching the episode, I liked him even more. Especially his pass protection, which I think is huge for a young quarterback. By the way, you have if you do not take one of these top 2 players for the Houston Texans, I don't know what we're doing. There's 3 guys on this board right now that are literally on your face, and 3 of them could be good picks. I don't know. I really genuinely don't think the Texans would be jumping for joy picking between these three players. But God,
you are correct. You are correct, sir. And again, this one's going to hurt my heart because I'm going to do it back-to-back picks.
Sure.
But Houston Texans with the 25th pick are going to continue to rebuild their offensive line. Again, already have our quarterback. Need to protect them. Need to give them more time to throw than last year to these weapons we have on the outside. So with the 25th pick, the Houston Texans select Mr. Josh Simmons, offensive tackle from that same godforsaken place down there.
So that's fine. I think the next guy's better, and the Los Angeles Rams will be thrilled with this. I'm once again, racing to the podium. I feel like this stuff is falling into my lap. I've been waiting to take them, and that's okay. A guy that did a great job of protecting down at Hook'em Horn University. I'll take Kelvin Banks Jr. to be an offensive tackle for the Los Angeles Rams. We can almost slow down and break down some of these picks because we've been flying through this draft because I feel like I'm so excited to get to some of these players. I'm like, I can't believe they're there. I can't believe they're there. I can't believe they're there. But
I think we're almost done. So we'll be able to go back and go through it.
Yeah, we'll do that. The Ravens are on the clock.
I'm ready to go. This was a spot where I was praying that one of my safeties fell here, but Gene ruined my draft. So, with the 27th pick, we're going to go with the guy that plays outside that can add to our defense and add to the edge. I'm going to go with Mr. James Pierce Jr., edge out of Tennessee.
Tennessee University. So there's a ton of needs for the Detroit Lions. Ton. I don't know how they have listed as wide receivers one of their needs. That's not one of my needs. For the Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown, I don't think in a first round you should be thinking wide receiver.
Well, there's rumors that you're shopping Jameson Williams.
Well, if they're shopping Jameson Williams, maybe it's different, but that's not where I'm going here. I think there's a clear pick, and I think it's something that they've needed. And it's funny, they have 4 needs listed, and I don't see this need listed there. So maybe I'm reaching. I don't care. But I know there it is, third one. So Dan Campbell isn't changing. And a zebra does not change his stripes. Nick Scourton, edge rusher to go on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson, is the pick for the Detroit Lions. They need to be able to get after the quarterback, and they have not done that since when Aiden got hurt.
All right. I'm ready to go.
I'm ready. Hold on. Click the button. Sorry.
So with the 29th pick, the Washington Commanders, it's going to take one of the most talked about and almost, widely disagreed upon, but high ceiling guy, Mr. Shamar Stewart, defensive end, Texas A&M.
So we went back-to-back edge rushers out of A&M. I'd love to ask your opinion here. I like Scourton better than Stewart. Are you in the same belief? Like, they obviously played adjacent to each other, but like, what is your belief on that?
So I think Stewart's the better athlete. I think he has the higher ceiling. I don't like his consistency, and I think that's why a lot of people – there's people that have him going in the top 10. There's people that have him going in the top 15. There's people that have him going in the second round. There's – I don't want to say questions, but a lot of people think he needs coaching, and they think he needs a little bit of an attitude adjustment. But they think if he goes to the right place and gets that he can be truly special. I think your guy is more of the known quantity. I think he's almost an Aiden type guy where he's high motor, high energy, super consistent, more of a known quantity. That's what I would say. I think less risky.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the analysis there because that's kind of where I was at when I was looking at the Lions. Scourton's a guy I just feel like that is just very fits perfect into their culture. So I just kind of where I was at. But the Buffalo Bills are on the clock, and this is a tough one for me because I have a lot of different. I think they have a lot more needs than they have listed. But yeah. All right, so this might be a little bit of a reach, but okay. Not that it's a reach for where he's going in the draft. His average ADP is right around here. It's a reach for, I think that they have other needs that are a little bit more pressing. But I'm going to go with Trey Amos, the cornerback out of Mississippi, Ole Miss, to basically be that replacement they never got for Tre'Davious White. So we have 2 picks left. We have the Chiefs and the Eagles. The Chiefs pick here is, I don't know. I think it's pretty easy, but maybe I'm tripping.
No. I mean, listen, if you watch this team I'm representing in the Super Bowl last year, you realize where their biggest need is, and it's on the offensive line. Yep. You could arguably say their best offensive lineman from the game last year is not on the team again. They need to make it. They need to make improvements quick because you literally have the face of the franchise as your quarter or face of the league as your franchise. So Kansas City Chiefs are ready to pick. I'm going to run to the board here. This will make Mr. Alex Elmore happy. The Kansas City Chiefs select Mr. Josh Connolly Jr., offensive tackle from the Oregon Ducks.
So in a dream world for me, Malachi Starks would be available for the Eagles to get.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have taken him 10th, the jerk.
I think you would have took him before me.
I would have took him where was he going? 27, you're right.
So I don't think I would have been able to get there anyway.
Nah, you wouldn't have.
But in a dream world for me as an Eagle, I would love to have Malachi Starks there. That's kind of what I want. Emanuware would be another dream situation. But it's not often for the Philadelphia Eagles to be able to get a local product that I think that can make impact at the next level. So with the 32nd pick and the last pick of the first round, the world champion Philadelphia Eagles select safety Kevin Winston Jr. from University of Penn State. So I don't really care what their grade is that they're going to give me. And I've already yeah, hold on. Let me get this off the screen real quick. I've already subscribed to it, and it just drives me nuts that it does this. Let me turn the view down a little bit so I can X this out. So this is your first round mock draft. Let me see if I can get the download image results. This will be a little easier to see. All right, let me stop sharing for 1 second. Then I'm going to reshare our downloaded image. And this should be a little easier to see for the listeners at home. This is our first round. This is an entire first round. So Shedeur Sanders was not drafted. I would have drafted him. Jackson Dart did get drafted. I probably would have drafted three quarterbacks, and Jackson Dart wouldn't have been one of them. With that being said, I respect Shally. I respect his opinions. When you're ranking quarterbacks that are in this draft, we never really got into your top 5, Shal. If you don't mind, before we get into what we took as draft picks. Where is your thought process on these quarterbacks that are listed?
I've said from the get-go, I'm not even a huge Cam Ward fan. I think Cam Ward's probably number one. I would not. I look at it this way. If you're comparing this year's draft to last year's draft, Cam Ward probably goes seventh out of the quarterbacks from last year. I don't have a first-round grade on any of them. I think Tennessee is going to do what they're going to do tomorrow, because they're hurting at that position, and they missed with their last draft pick. But I don't think he's the answer. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's a franchise quarterback in this draft. I think there's guys that could start and be 20 to 32 on the in the rankings and be those type of guys. I don't think there is one franchise quarterback in this draft. I don't. I think Cam Ward has stuff to improve on. I like the way Shedeur throws the ball, but he holds on to it forever. And he's not as athletic as people think. I think he's going to get beat up in the NFL. Jackson Dart, I think, is too inconsistent and really stares down receivers. I think if he doesn't get away from that, I think he's going to throw a million picks. There's the Tyler Shao crowd, who is, they're saying he's the best pure thrower, in this draft, and maybe it's the highest upside, but he's 26. And it's no, I'm just not in love with any of them.
Okay.
I don't know how else to say that.
So I'll give you my rankings on the quarterbacks, and I'll go 5 through 1. Jalen Milroe's gotten a lot of conversations recently. One scout said that he's the best runner of the football they've seen since Lamar Jackson. One scout said he was the best runner they've ever seen ever, even better than Lamar Jackson. Jalen Milroe could fit into a certain situation, and he would be my number 5. My number 4 would be Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart has the ability to throw darts, right? Like, he has the ability to step up in the pocket in the right system. I think he's my number 4 guy. My number 3 guy is Shedeur Sanders. I think Shedeur can, if in the right situation, I think he could be great. My number 2 guy is Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward is got all the talent. I think he plays lazy at times, and that bothers me. And my number 1 guy in this draft won't get drafted until day 3. And that's okay. Maybe I'm on my edge by myself. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. But one day, if this tape comes out and this guy's a star in the NFL, and I have him listed as my number 1 quarterback, I think you guys all know who I'm going with. Quinn Ewers from the University of Texas, I think, has all the right tools. I think we look at the situation he was in with Sarkisian, and we're like, yeah, he made a lot of bad decisions. I think in the NFL, when you have next-level offensive coordinators and offensive coaches in the right scheme, like if you put, and I mean this when I say this, if you put Quinn Ewers in a situation that Brock Purdy landed in, he would be better than Brock Purdy. When you scouted Brock Purdy and Quinn Ewers coming out of college, and you looked at both of those players, not one person that you ever scouted college football, not even Brock Purdy's father, had Brock Purdy ranked ahead of Quinn Ewers coming out of college. Now, we all look at what happened with Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco system and all those weapons there, and we go, okay, well, Brock Purdy is now a top 15 quarterback in football because situations matter. I think if Quinn Ewers goes to the right situation, you will see the best quarterback in this draft, being a guy that doesn't go till day 3.
I mean, listen, Quinn's interesting. I think Quinn's one of the wild cards, but to your point, I probably have Quinn probably 5. You have him 1. But my point being, I don't like anybody in the first round. You're taking a guy to be number 1 that, like you said, it's probably not going till day 3. I think they're all that close. They all have things you like about them, but they all have things that just glaringly jump off the page as well. And
yeah, but Quinn's decision-making. He plays hero ball. He doesn't have arm issues. He doesn't have – his problem is his decision-making.
Okay, but decision-making is probably the number 1 thing that makes you a good quarterback in the NFL.
Right.
He has great arm talent. I think he has a little bit of playing lazy in him like Cam Ward does. Probably not to the degree that Cam Ward does, but he has it. I'm going to push back a little bit on the Sark thing because Sark's a pretty big offensive guy. He's not Kyle Shanahan, but I mean, how many Kyle Shanahans are there? So
but every time Sark went to a place in the NFL or college, the quarterback play was better before or after he left. Look at what he did with the Atlanta Falcons, how bad the quarterback play with Matt Ryan was. Look at what he did with Alabama. Like that was if you don't remember, that was the era in which Jalen Hurts and Tua had that whole mess at quarterback situation. He had two blue chip prospects that went to the NFL and made both of them look kind of weird at Alabama.
I would say, I mean, they won a national championship though.
I mean, the best team in college football.
Okay, but what's always a knock on Alabama though?
They don't have
I mean, correct. So I mean, it's not like Sark is the only person that went to Alabama and ruined quarterbacks. Like they all get to the NFL.
I love Jory. Ask Levis about this.
Correct. And I was literally about to bring him up. He's a perfect example. That kid still is probably a top 5 arm talent in the NFL, and he makes decisions like a can of mayonnaise, like he likes to eat. That's what he does. That's why Tennessee tomorrow night is going to make another mistake and pick Cam Ward. Because if Will Levis could figure out how to make good decisions and throw the ball in open windows, the kid could be a stud because he could throw the ball a country mile. But he just drops back and he's like, I think I can do that. And he tries to throw the ball through 3 people. That doesn't work in the NFL.
You're right. Listen, I think Cam Ward just plays lazy. I think he's got all the ability in the world. I hate how slow he plays football. And I think at the next level, when he plays versus pros, I think it's you can't do that.
Don't disagree. And that's why there's no way in hell I'm taking him number 1.
But the reason I can take him to Cleveland, it's a very play action based system. He rolls out and like Kevin Stefanski's system, Joe Flacco played in it perfectly. I think Cam Ward can play in that system.
I think it makes it a little easier because it makes it always if you're running play action well, it always gives you one read that's going to be open. But that being said, you can't run play action all the time. So I get what you're saying. I definitely think he'd be more successful there than he would be other places. I don't think any of these guys sniff the top 3 rounds if they're in last year's draft. None of them.
Fair. So I want to ask you a question about this draft, this top 32. I want you to tell me one even number pick that you were like, wow, that was a really good pick, Gene. I'm going to make you give me credit. However, I'm also going to let you do exactly what you love doing and tear me down. I want you to tell me one even number pick that you're like, love doing that. I'm kidding. But give me one even number pick that you dislike. So like, I don't like that situation for him, or I love that situation for him. So give me one of each, and I'll do the odds for you afterwards.
I would say this. I would say. See, it's funny because I'm between 2, and I thought that the one was going to go to the other one.
It's funny.
I don't hate Kenneth Grant going to 20 to Denver. I think they need a running back where I thought you were going to take a Marion Hampton because that's where a lot of people have him going. And I think that's a great fit for him in a Sean Payton system because, like you said, he's good at pass pro. He can be a 3-down back in Denver, and Sean Payton will throw him the football. Like he'll be the Alvin Kamara type guy there. I think he can be that. So I don't hate him in Minnesota. It's just that I just feel like they just re-signed Aaron Jones. So like, I don't know how well that actually fits. So like, again, I feel like I'm probably nitpicking between the 2 of those, if I'm being honest, because I like all the rest of them.
Okay, that's fair. So which one is your favorite?
I think the ballsiest one you took was number 4. And again, I think that kid is a freak athlete. I think he needs to learn football a little bit more. And I think he needs to he just needs to be polished a little bit. But again, I think that's one 3 years from now, because I think Drake May is going to be okay if they as long as they continue to build around him. I think 3 years from now, that's when we would look back and be like, that's a great pick because he's turned out to be an absolute stud. So I would go with McMillan at number 4.
Okay. So I will give you yours. Would you like to Would you like the white meat or the gravy? Would you like the good news or the bad news?
Go worst first.
Okay, so and this is not worst. I just don't like the fit for the player. So I think he's a good player. I don't like Mason Graham going 5 at Jackson. Jacksonville had a top 10 defensive line last year. That's what they were known for. They were actually very good on the defensive line. They had Travon Walker. They had Josh Hines-Allen. Their defensive line as a whole was very good. I don't like Mason Graham in that situation. I probably would have preferred Will Johnson, the cornerback that I took 11 at 5, or you took 11 at 5. I think that pick would have been a home run. So I swapped Michigan guys, kind of like you did with 20 and 24. I'd swap 5 and 11. Maybe not. I wouldn't put Mason Graham at 11. I would give San Francisco an offensive lineman. Now, where I love that you went, right? And this is not said enough, right? So a lot of people look at situations and they go, okay, I'm not going to reach because the consensus says not to reach. I love Nick Emanuware going 19 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that's a perfect fit for him. Put him in a Todd Bowles system. He's already from the South. The guy can play football. He's incredible. You're going to put him in a Todd Bowles system next to Antoine Winfield Jr., and you're going to have an absolute stud safety, and your secondary is going to look a million times better. So I love the Emanuware pick at 19. I probably would have swapped 5 and 11. Not 5 and 11. I probably wouldn't have took Mason Graham at 5. I would have took Will Johnson.
I wish Cottrell was here because I would love to see Cottrell's opinion on both.
Yeah, I mean, we can post this. I downloaded the image.
Yeah,
we can
that's homework when he gets off the party boat.
Yeah. So, if anybody else has opinions, 99.7. I love Dano. 99.7% chance Miami screws this draft up because the GM sucked. There's only one GM worse than give him the Mavs GM. I love Danny Dempsey is a diehard Miami Dolphins fan, and he's absolutely correct. The Miami Dolphins have absolutely screwed the pooch in a million different ways. Now Jalen Ramsey's on the trade block. And now you look at this situation, right? You've replaced Jalen Ramsey with Jahdae Barron, who's a great pick for the Miami Dolphins. However, if you get the 13 and the Dolphins don't take Will Campbell's there, and the Dolphins do not take an offensive lineman this year, Dolphins fans are going to be screaming from the rooftop like in pain. You need to protect Tua. Will Campbell should be the pick there, in my humble opinion. Now, the reason that they're in that situation is because they're deciding to trade their number one corner. That's not your fault, Charlie. That's the Dolphins' fault. But that's kind of where I'm at. But we'll post that on the page. We'll post everything on the page, and you can give us your reactions. But it's our picks. That's what we're doing. And we only had 2 quarterbacks went in the first round, which is interesting. I love that. I always love doing this draft because I love to see where you're. And look, we post these. You can see how these players play in 3 years. Like you're talking about, some of the picks that we've made that have just really hit hard in the NFL. And obviously we've made picks that have been mistakes, but I like looking back at this in a few years and saying, hey, this is where we had them going. We had them ranked higher than the pros did, and they worked out.
Absolutely.
So good draft, my friend.
Was.
We got the NBA action to go into, and this is a fun topic to bounce right into. Normally on draft nights, we go way too long on the draft, and we overanalyze every pick, and it's kind of awesome that we do that. Cottrell, who's one of our best analysts, is not here tonight. So I want to talk about some of the NBA playoff series, though. And I think that, the NBA playoffs start off really well. Now, I'm going to discard a couple series right away because they suck. I should be very clear when I say that. I don't think the Heat are going to push the Cavs at all. The Cavs are about to go up 2-0 tonight. They're up 17 already. Let's not talk about that series. We obviously don't need to talk about the Thunder Grizzlies because that's a friggin' joke. Like, that's a joke. You get beat by 50 in game 1 of the playoffs. Like, I don't know. What are we doing? You're talking about a team that fired their head coach just like 3 weeks ago and gets beat by 50. Yeah, just go home. It's over. So we'll avoid those series. Now, a series I thought we could avoid a little bit would have been Celtics versus Magic. I'm not saying Celtics Magic is going to be a series. I'm not. But what's interesting is there's a notable missing player tonight, Jason Tatum. And Al Horford took it upon himself to be very public with he did not like the way that KCP and Wendell Carter, as physical as they were with Boston, and Jason Tatum is not playing. It was a play that, Wendell Carter and KCP went up on. They went for ball. Jason Tatum's hurt. He's not playing tonight. He should be fine, 2 days. Definitely fine in a week. But I just like to get your opinion because I think Al Horford's 100% in the wrong here. You might disagree. I think he needs to say those words, I guess, publicly to kind of get the court of public opinion. But Orlando's got one chance in this series, and it's to bully. It's to play that type of bully basketball and to be physical with the defending world champs. I love what they're doing. Your thoughts on Orlando, Boston?
No, I mean, I agree completely. I think Al Horford being a leader on that team and wants to come off as a good team. And again, it has to take that stance publicly and, put that out there. And if I was Boston, I'd be more concerned the fact that, their coach is on the sideline yelling at him, telling him to get up, and now he's not playing. I don't think that's the best look in the world, but telling the trainer not to go out there. So, I mean, obviously he was a little bit more hurt than we thought. But yeah, I mean, I think Boston, I wouldn't call Boston a finesse team, but they're definitely not a physical team. So it's I think there's somewhere in between. And like you said, I mean, a lot of teams like that, if you start playing bully ball or, if you get in their head a little bit with the physical play, it can factor into the way series play out. So, I don't think it's going to matter, like you said, because I don't think Tatum's missing any major, amount of time. And on top of everything else, I mean, Boston still might win tonight anyway. So, I know they started the second half on a crazy run. So, 12. Yeah, I don't think it's going to matter anyway. And yeah, I mean, I don't think Miami has anything for Cleveland. So
let's stay in the East for a minute. Pacers Bucks. The Pacers, I talked to Mo this morning about this, and me and Mo don't see this the same way, and that's okay. I think the Bucks lose the series. I predicted the Pacers to win the series to begin with. Mo is very evident that the Pacers are just dog walking them, bullying them around. I think that changes when you get back to Milwaukee. I do. I think as a whole, I think Milwaukee gets back in the series, and Doc Rivers figures out a way to blow it in 7. Mo thinks it ends in 5. He thinks it's 3-1 leaving Milwaukee, and Indiana wins it in 5. So do you think Milwaukee gets back in the series? And can we please, guys, I don't want to do my full victory lap. I don't think it's right. But can we give me somewhat of a victory lap on the fact that I told you Dame Lillard wasn't going to make an impact and that Drew Holiday was a much better player on that team for that team?
I'll answer the first part first. I think Bucks probably win Game 3. I mean, whatever you have in the tank, I mean, you have to win Game 3 for Milwaukee. So It's your best effort. It's empty the tank. It's diving on the floor. Whatever you got to do to win that basketball game has to happen in Game 3. Because if you don't, the series is over. I still tend to think Bucks probably come out. I think Indiana gets beat pretty decently tomorrow night, maybe. But I do think they win Game 4, and then they close out a Game 5 at home. I don't believe in Doc Rivers. To your other point, I think there's a lot of factors, and I think one of the factors is Dame has not played well at all since he got there. I don't think him and Giannis have really meshed, and that goes back to your point. I think Drew Holiday is a better fit because Drew Holiday's natural inclination is to actually be a point guard and not score. I think Chris Middleton, that whole situation, they changed the coach right after they traded for Dame. I think a lot of things factor into it. You know how I feel about Doc Rivers. I don't think he's helping the situation. I think it's going to be a very interesting offseason for Milwaukee because they got to figure it out quick. Because if not, they're cash cow and the guy that everything revolves around in that franchise is going to get antsy real quick, especially if he goes out to a first round exit 4-1 to Indiana. So it's they I can tell you where to start, and that is getting rid of Doc Rivers, get a more modern coach in there that's going to run a more modern, free-flowing offense, which will obviously, help.
They need to change everything, though, Shally. They're the oldest. They're the oldest, slowest team in basketball.
I'm agreeing. I'm just telling you where you got to start, and from there you got to make a bunch of personnel moves. I think you at least, like I said, you at least got to show him a succinct plan to what they're going to do around him to get better and get better fast, and like you said, get younger, get faster. Because we've talked about it. Boston's not going anywhere. Cleveland's not going anywhere. Orlando's just going to keep getting better, and Indiana's going to keep getting better. So, and you still have the Knicks, and then who knows what the Sixers do if they get their shit together. So, you went from a Milwaukee team the last couple of years. Everybody's like, they're like 1 or 2 to being 7 or 8, and that's realistic. So, if you're a Milwaukee fan or a Giannis fan, that's me being nice. That's being realistic. That's telling you how it really is. They need to change a lot, and they need to change a lot fast. Because if Giannis leaves that franchise will go back to sucking for the next 10 years.
I think Giannis needs to leave. I think it's a situation in which
I wouldn't argue with you either.
I think it's a situation where it's I don't know how to explain it to you, but they traded for Kyle Kuzma, who's been awful. That's one. And then let's take it a step further, right? They have Brook Lopez, who's slow and old. Bobby Portis, who's kind of slow and old. He's not slow, but like he's old. You have
miles on the tires.
A lot of miles on the tires over there. So let's go to the 4 series that aren't decided, and they're very good series. Knicks Pistons, as we stay in the East, 1-1. Karl-Anthony Towns looks like a big man. First game and a half. Second half of game 2, scored 0 points.
Typical cat.
Jekyll and Hyde. And, it's crazy when you look at this Knicks Pistons situation where you go, the Knicks last year, they kept getting injured. They were a game away from the conference finals. They're worse with Mikal Bridges and Karl-Anthony Towns. You remove Hartenstein and DiVincenzo, and you add Mikal Bridges and Karl-Anthony Towns. NBA 2K would reject that trade. There's nobody in the world doing that trade. And the Knicks made that work. Now, they gave 5 first-round draft picks to do it. But how are the Knicks worse?
Well, okay. Me and you have been critical of Cat since he's been in the league, and deservedly so for the most part. He has a tendency to not show up in big spots. Hate to say it. I don't care. I don't care if you average 22 and 10 in the regular season. If you average 15 and 6 in the postseason, then you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Right. I'm a huge Bridges guy, just like you, but he's not worth 5 number ones, and B, he's an intangibles guy. Like he's not a guy that's going to take over the game offensively. Like they have Brunson, and I get that, but the big thing was they needed guys that knew the role and played within that system. The joke was last year, like, oh, they played better without Julius Randle, and they did because Julius Randle wasn't on the floor to hog the ball. Go look at the Knicks Sixer series and watch Hartenstein just hand Joel Embiid his ass over and over.
Fact.
Because he out-hustled him. He played harder, ran down balls. DiVincenzo's another guy, dude. He's a spark guy. He's a guy that'll dive in the crowd for a ball. He plays great defense. And then all of a sudden, you leave him alone and he hits you a dagger 3. Like, that's what those guys were. They were glue guys. And I hate to say it, Thibodeau is that type of coach that he gets those guys like, dude, we're hurt, we're down, we're underdogs. And you get those guys all going in the same direction and gelling and gluing, and it's us against the world. And those are the guys you want. You don't want Cat. I'm sorry. Cat's not that guy. I'm not saying Bridges isn't, but they just have fit problems in New York. And We said it. We said Detroit was going to give them hell, and I think Detroit's going to. I think Detroit's a bunch of young kids that want to go make their name for themselves. They're a lot like Houston and the way OKC was last year. You know, Brunson hasn't had, I would say, the same impactful type of year that he had last year. He still had a good year, but you're relying on a lot of guys on that team to do things that they're not used to or not comfortable doing. And when you get into the playoffs, that becomes glaringly obvious sometimes. Whereas last year, like we said, DiVincenzo can go up and down the court 10 times and not touch the ball, and that was fine. He was still going to play great defense. He was still going to hustle. Hartenstein didn't have to score, but he just bothered the hell out of Embiid and out-rebounded him and kept possessions alive, gave them extra shots. This Cat's not going to do that. He's not. Sorry, he wants to play outside.
Real quick, does Jalen Brunson not remind you? And like, this is the best comparison I ever got for Jalen Brunson. Like, I really thought about this one. And do you remember when Isaiah Thomas Jr. was on the Boston Celtics?
Mm-hmm.
And he was fourth in MVP that year, and he had that incredible run, and his sister passed away, and he was incredible throughout that playoffs. And then they moved on from him, and he just really wasn't that good in a different situation. I'm not saying Jalen Brunson's that, but it reminds me a lot of that. And when the whole focal of the offense isn't ran around Jalen Brunson, he's less impactful. And I think this year with Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, and you obviously still have OG Anunoby, the full focal point of the offense isn't ran around Jalen Brunson, and he's just a jag. He's just another guy. Last year, I got a lot of shit when I said Tyrese Maxey was a better player than Jalen Brunson. I don't think I'd be getting that same shit this year.
No, to me, I mean, he's James Harden.
Okay.
If he's got the ball in his hands, and like you said, and he's the focal point and he's running everything, he's a very impactful player. Like you said, if they're running sets for other people and he's not involved, yeah, I mean, is he a jag? I mean, I think that might be a little harsh, but is he then the guy that you absolutely have to worry about? No, I think that's a completely fair point from you.
Okay, just wanted your point. Let's go over to the West. I want to go over the best series by far. And I don't know, somebody predicted this. It might have been me. I don't know who it was. Help me out. The Nuggets Clippers. The difference in this series has been 1 point. It's been a great game 1 and game 2. And game 1, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, they got it done. In game 2, Kawhi Leonard looked like old school Kawhi Leonard. Dropped 39 points. Looked great. This Clippers Nuggets series is just, I smell 7 games. And in 7 games, I'm going to give the edge to the Nuggets. I originally picked the Clippers. But it looks like a great series, man. Your thoughts on Clippers Nuggets?
It has been great. And like you said, first game, a lot of Jokic, a lot of, Jamal Murray, again, kind of looked like Jamal Murray. Second game, not as much. And then Kawhi looked like, Toronto Kawhi. And my problem with that is, does he have 5 more of those games in him? I don't think so. So, I think he has a couple though, which means, to your point, I think it gets us to 7. I'll take Denver at home at that point though. But yeah, it's been, I think that's been as it should be. I mean, 4-5, you're saying those are the 2 closest teams, in record and what they did this year in success. So I think it's a great series. I think it's going to be a great series. I took Denver. I'll stay with Denver, but I think that's going to be an absolute, drag them out type of series. That's going to be a gauntlet to get out of.
My favorite series, just not to watch, but my favorite series to follow is the Warriors Rockets. I am such a fan of watching Steph and Jimmy Butler, and I'm way bigger on the Warriors and way higher on the Warriors than most people are. I love Draymond. I love the way he plays the game of basketball. I know he's a little bit reckless at times. I know he's emotional, but it often reminds me of the way I play sports. Very want it so badly that sometimes I cross that line of being too much, right? Jimmy Butler, once again, and once again, Draymond to kind of add to, was willing to do whatever it takes to win. Doesn't matter if he's the last guy on the bench or has to be the star player if he needs to. Jimmy Butler also reminds me of that. And I think they have a lot of grit and determination on that Warriors team. And to go into Houston game 1 and knock the Rockets off and have the opportunity to go up 2-0. I love the Warriors in this series. I think the Rockets just aren't ready for this moment. But let's give credit to Ime Udoka while we can, because he's done a great job with that Rockets team. Your thoughts on Warriors Rockets?
I feel like we kind of nailed this one. I mean, the Warriors with Jimmy Butler have just been an absolutely different team, and that's because you're going to get, you got him for the last part of the season, but now when you get to the playoffs, you're going to get dog Jimmy. Draymond's played great. Steph's being Steph. All the experience they have. And I said this, I felt like the Rockets this year were going to be OKC last year. A really great regular season, but they're going to get into the playoffs, kind of get that experience. I have Golden State coming out of the series, and then I think they'll understand, the differences in playoff basketball. And then I think Houston will be even better next year. I think they're on the same exact path OKC is. So I just think with all that experience and the way they're playing, I just think they're a little too much for Houston. And I'll be really curious to see what happens tonight. Because if they lose tonight, they might get swept. So, I'll be really curious to see how Houston comes out. But Golden State, I mean, listen, it's, they are one of the few teams, because they have guys that have been there so much and done it so much. They have that proverbial switch that they can kind of go to. To your point, I mean, is there a more feared threesome than Curry and Green and Jimmy Butler in the playoffs right now? Because I don't know if there is.
I love having Draymond Green in that situation, but yeah, I don't know either. I think I'm loving that you said that though. No issues there. And then look, it's funny to talk about the Lakers in 5 crowd, but you're sitting in a situation right now where game 1, Minnesota absolutely out physical the Lakers. Game 2, guys, I think the Lakers were lucky to get out of this game the way they did. And, I don't know if you watched it. The Lakers came out like gangbusters. Played great in the first quarter, 34-15, and then slowly choke the game away. And it got a little bit too close to comfort. The Lakers ended up winning 94-85. Luka Doncic, 31 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists. Still was playing skates defense. They moved Jackson Hayes off the court very early in that game. You've seen a lot of Dorian Finney-Smith. LeBron was playing the 5. Rui was playing the 5. It was very interesting to see how that played out. Anthony Edwards has not taken over the way I expected Anthony Edwards to take over. There's no perimeter defender that can guard him. 25 points and a -9 is not enough. I will say this, though. You look at that game, there was just a lot of, I don't want to say ticky-tack calls, but just a lot of questionable calls in the game in the favor of the Lakers.
You mean a lot of like slowing momentum type calls, that type stuff?
Yes.
I agree with you. I mean, I feel like if you take the first 8 minutes of that game out, Minnesota was a better team again. I think there was, I mean, you expect it in the playoffs, but I mean, there was some home cooking. I think the Lakers came out and, like you said, I think ran sets in a couple of rotations that they were not expecting. And I think your other point, I think Anthony Edwards needs to. This is another one of those situations where we've talked about it before, like with LeBron leaving, and we thought it was going to be John. He's had his issues. Like Giannis is getting a little bit older now. Joel is just Joel, and who really wants to be the next guy? And I feel like Anthony Edwards wants to when he wants to be. And last night I felt like there was, like, to your point, I feel like there was times down the court that he just settled, and he doesn't have to settle, because I agree with you. I think it's very few and far between the number of guys that can actually physically stay in front of him and guard him without fouling him. I think this is a huge opportunity for him to go home Minnesota, put up 38 spot, beat the hell out of Lakers game 3. And if he can eliminate the Lakers and send Luka and LeBron home, again, I think it's a big thing for him to, take that next step into like really like the elite superstardom that like we all think he's capable of doing. And it's just, I think with him sometimes it's frustrating because it looks like he doesn't care sometimes. And to me, and I'm not saying he doesn't care about winning, but it's like he doesn't care if he is that guy. Whereas I would want to see the killer instinct from him and just, take the bull by the horns and be like, I am that guy. I want to be that guy. And that's what frustrates me about Anthony Edwards sometimes.
I hear you. And stop sharing so we can kind of talk about. I think it's going to be a very interesting series. I think Minnesota going home, they really need to win both those games because you don't want it to get to game 7 with LeBron and Luka and it being in LA. So you want to be able to try to close that game out in 6. And if you get up 3-1, you can fall game 5 and your all in game is game 6. So I think it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. Has anything changed on your finals prediction based on what you've seen? It shouldn't for you. You have Boston over OKC, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so they're both looking dominant. I don't think you should have any. I'm not changing. I still have Boston over Golden State.
Yeah, and my final 4 I'm still completely okay with. So,
well, it wouldn't be us if we didn't have a quick opportunity to talk about the Phillies and baseball. And the Phillies just got swept today by the Metropolitans. Same old, 13-12, sitting in second place in the National League East, losing it 4 straight, losing again today 4-3. I don't want to be that guy. It's early, right? It's early. I don't want to be that guy. Say I told you so, but Alex Boehm stinks. I'm sorry, he stinks.
He was 3 for 5 today. He's up to like 250.
He stinks.
Doesn't stink. Started cold like the rest of them. Listen, I mean, this is. I will agree with you. It's a broken record, as in this is what they do every year. So until the year comes where they don't make it out of this stupid like little hole that they make for themselves, then I'll get really upset. But we're 25 games in. They still are in second place. I would say the promising, I guess, looking thing is that it looks like Atlanta's just not going to get their shit together either. But
they've not been bad recently. They're 10-14. They started 0-7.
Yeah, but again, this is the same thing we go through every year. That's all I'll say. I would say
you're right, but Noah, we don't normally go through Noah being what is he 0-6 now?
I think he's 0-5. Nola's the one questionable, but again, he's never been a cold weather pitcher. He's the other one. He wants to start. The hotter it gets, the better he pitches, which is weird. It's a little concerning because it's not like he's losing games 3-2. You know what I mean? Like he's been hit pretty hard, but Wheeler looks great. Sanchez looks great. Ranger looked great last night. His rehab start.
Rosario looks great. I think
Rosario looks great. I think they're fine. When it gets warm out, Schwarber will start hitting. I guess Trey's a little bit of a concern, but he's
terrible, man. He's terrible.
You brought up Boehm again. Like I said, he went 3 for 5 today. Like he looks like he's coming out of it. Bryce isn't hitting the ball. But this is what these guys do in April. If we're still around 500 in June and everybody's still hitting 250, then I will be the first one to push the panic alarm.
How about Orion Kirkering and Jordan Romano not being able to get anyone out?
Corcoran to me is kind of the weird one. Big after the year he had last year. Romano, I don't want to say you saw it coming, but he had a couple really good years, and then before we signed him, I mean last year I think his ERA was something
7.
way up there. Yeah,
like
there you go.
7.5.
I knew it was something up there. So to say this is a surprise, I wouldn't say it's a surprise. I mean, I don't think you could get me or you out right now, which is the alarming part. He blew the game again today after we got the run in. We actually manufactured a run. Like Jesus Christ, that never happens. But it comes in, gets Soto out, and then obviously Alonso just kind of sticks his bat out, gets a hit, ties it, but then he gives up everything after that to lose the game. So they're gonna have to figure that out real quick because he clearly can't be the guy. Lefties are obviously not easy to come by, but you can't do what you did last year and pitch Strom and Alvarado into the ground because you saw what happened last year, how tired they were when they got to the playoffs. So there's got to be another lefty in the bullpen that can eat innings, and if it's not going to be him, then go out and get somebody. You have money, or bring somebody up, do something.
All righty. I don't like where the Phillies are at. I said that before the season started.
Me and you have the same conversation every year.
I get it. I just don't like Noah. Don't like Bohm. I've been very, very clear there. Trey Turner is falling down the list of players that I'm just I love Trey Turner before he became a Philly. And man, I'm just waiting for him to be comfortable in Philadelphia. I don't know, man. And I also like Bryson Stott in the leadoff hole. And granted, they gave him a day off today and they started Sosa, but I like the start of Stott, Turner. I love that. And also Harper. Look, I love Bryce and Bryce's flair for the dramatic, but you can't swing at the first pitch the other night when you got Schwarber on deck. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's not hitting either. I mean, they're all around 250. They're all doing the same. I mean, Schwarber today I think Schwarber was 0 for 4 with 3 Ks and a walk today. It's such a funny
Schwarber in the afternoon, though, bro.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but it's just like I said, it's
and JT looks off the plate still, just to be clear.
JT doesn't look good. I'll give you that one. But we will. It's just too early for me with this group. They've shown time and time and time again they do it the same way over and over and over. So, like I said, if we get to June and we're sputtering like this, then I'll raise the alarm for emergency. But usually as soon as the weather starts getting into the 80s, they start smashing. So we'll see what happens.
John, I just want to address you because I always love addressing the troll in the building. Philly sucks. They might finish near the bottom. I mean, everyone thought my Braves were going to finish below 500, which hasn't happened in, 30 years? Hey, John, just a question. Last time the Braves played the Phillies in the playoffs, how'd that go for you guys? Oh, just take a step back. How about the second to last time? What happened there? I hope Spencer Strider comes back and you guys play us again in the playoffs so we can send him crying out of the bank again.
Who the hell picked the Braves to finish under 500?
I don't. I guess when I started.
Nobody picked the Braves to finish under 500.
I haven't made my playoffs.
Yeah, everybody does. Most people haven't won in the division. Come on. Nobody picked them to finish under 500. Stop. That's ridiculous.
I love you. Let's get into you got to be kidding me.
I don't. There is no rational baseball writer or analyst that picked Atlanta to finish under 500 this year. And if they did, then I'll eat it. But I want to see it.
Love it. Tell him, Shao. Let's get into you got to be kidding me.
I actually have one this week.
Love it. I'm ready.
Going with Justin Blackmon, former NFL player.
Oh, man.
Ironic that we do it on draft night. Justin Blackmon was drafted 5th out of Oklahoma State back in 2012, I believe. Big guy. Was probably, really everybody thought he was going to be the next big thing. And he was. He had the size, great hands. And this guy has literally just done everything in his power to ruin I mean, his career and his life. I saw a picture of him. Got arrested again this weekend for public intoxication. This guy was given so many chances to get back in the NFL between, suspensions for drugs and marijuana and all that stuff. It's just sad, man. It's sad. It's sad when you see, wasted talent, because that's, it sounds a bit harsh, but that's what it was. That's what he is. This kid was electric in college, electric. People were comparing him to being in that same, he was going to be in that same mold of Julio and AJ Green and all those guys. And he had the physical ability to do it. And he went number 5 overall. I mean, Gene just took a guy number 4 overall, but I mean, when's the last time you really saw a wide receiver go that early in the draft? Just a shame. But again, getting in trouble yet again this weekend, got arrested. Doesn't even look like himself, man. I saw his booking photo. It doesn't even look like him. So for me, unfortunately, this week, kind of a sad one, but Justin Blackmon.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah. So everything that you just said, I was the guy. I was that. Remember, we talk all the time about the guys we hit on and the guys we missed on.
Yeah.
My biggest miss ever is Justin Blackmon.
It's funny you said that, because I was literally thinking about this in the car the other day. And I was thinking about bringing it up as a topic for us on the show, our biggest misses and everything. And we should do it. But Justin Blackmon, I mean, not mine, obviously, but mine, I'll save it because mine's a big one. But
Julio Jones and AJ Green were drafted the year before Justin Blackmon,
and
they both had good rookie years.
Yeah.
And I said, Justin Blackmon will make you forget about Julio Jones and AJ Green. I said he's the next coming of Terrell Owens. This guy is T.O.
He was that type of guy, man. I think he's 6'1", 6'2". I mean, again, it's no different than
it took him 4 weeks in the NFL to get suspended for weed.
Yeah. But I mean, coming out I mean, again, we compare Jamar Chase all the time, Julio and guys like that. That's what this guy was. That's what he was coming out. He was a big guy, go over the middle, could burn and run right by you, catch everything. Shame.
All right. So I kind of alluded to mine earlier. Why you got to be kidding me this week is The Rock. Dwayne Johnson, the final boss. I think back of a promo where John Cena had one of the greatest promos of all time. And he goes, I was one of them, Rock. I was one of those guys in the crowd, the people's elbow, until I met Dwayne Johnson. I don't like Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson is a selfish, self-centered, egotistical, maniacal son of a bitch. Dwayne Johnson went on Pat McAfee, and he said that he claimed that the WWE was having problems selling tickets for Elimination Chamber, and that Ari Emanuel, who owns, basically the UFC and the WWE, he wasn't planning on going to do it, but the owner of TKO owns the WWE. He's been my longtime partner and one of my best friends for over 20 years. He said, we need help at Elimination Chamber. Ticket sales are a little low. And then it comes out that before The Rock was ever announced, the 38,000 tickets were already sold for Elimination Chamber. Well, Rock, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't think they needed help. The WWE hasn't needed help. And you haven't needed your help. Last year, you tried to get yourself involved in WrestleMania, and the WWE fans told you exactly where to stick it. I'll never forget the SmackDown that happened after the Royal Rumble, where Cody Rhodes was, it's not my time. I'm going to pass my spot over to The Rock. And the WWE fan base is like, no, we're not doing this self-centered bullshit. We're not giving The Rock this self-centered, egotistical match with Roman Reigns. And then they had to completely make a change to, we're going to do Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth because The Rock wants to be involved in WrestleMania. Bro, you need to literally look in the mirror and know how much of a selfish, self-serving son of a bitch you really are. So this week, The Rock is my you got to be kidding me.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
38,000 tickets were already sold before The Rock was announced for Elimination Chamber. The venue holds 51,000.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I also don't think he understands like how bad that made everybody else look and sound. Like, oh, now I got to go sell all these tickets to sell this out because you guys can't do it. And people are sitting there like you said, like, bro, like we're like 70% full already. I mean, the good thing is, I hope this is, you know, the end of it in that regards. Like, if you want to bring them in for special things and, you know, be part of WrestleMania every year, that's fine. The man is still an attraction, obviously, but in regards to actually being like on TV storylines, like we need to be done with it.
I'm so done with it. I don't think I've ever seen through a person any more than I've seen through The Rock in the last year and a half. It's embarrassing. But that's all we got for today. Any final thoughts, Shally?
No, I got nothing.
Well, I will I'll say we missed you, Cottrell. I hope you're enjoying yourself, and tomorrow night we'll be doing our live watch along for the NFL draft that we do every year. It's one of our most successful pods of the year. You know, if you come join us, hang out, we'll be recapping everything that happens in the first round of the NFL draft. I'm looking forward to it. Guys, you know, check us out. Come on through, come hang out. And this will be the time. If you ever want to come on stage, come on air, and just hop on and hang out with the boys, tomorrow night is the night. Tune into our draft podcast, and we will be going through a lot of stuff there. Godfrey will be there too. Love Godfrey.
I'll pop in eventually. I have a game, but I'll pop in.
What time is your game?
7:45. It never fails, dude. I made this joke, but this has to be like the 5th year in a row on draft night we play at 7:45. I never get to 6:30, and I never get like to 10:15. It's always 7:45. Well,
you being an Eagles fan, the 6 to 7:45 game is not the worst because
we pick so late. But I mean, I would like if we had 6:30, I could be away from the field at home and like actually like settled in, like watch the whole thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like 7:45, get home 9.
Would you rather 7:45 or 9?
What?
Would you rather the 7:45 or the 9?
Probably the 7:45.
There we go. It's not all bad. But thank you guys so much for tuning in this week's episode of Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. Cottrell will be back with us next week. I'm the NFL G and Sheen Walzak. That is Shally Roseman. And we are signing out.